BiPAP is a device that is utilized when a patient is unable, for one reason or another, to ventilate effectively. What is ventilatory support? When a patient's tidal volume is too small to the point that carbon dioxide that has built up in the lungs is unable to be expelled. We as healthcare professionals can implement the use of positive pressure ventilation. This use of pressure can increase a patient's tidal volume in order to ventilate the lungs enough to decrease the amount of CO2 built up in the body. When our bodies are acidotic, for example, from an increase in CO2, our brain tells us to breathe more in order to get rid of CO2. Because increased CO2 can cause acidosis in the body, an increased ventilatory support can also decrease a high respiratory rate. And a high respiratory rate can be an indicator of insufficient lung ventilation. What is the difference between CPAP and BiPAP? Well, CPAP stands for continuous positive airway pressure, while BiPAP stands for bilevel or biphasic positive airway pressure. So simply, the difference is that CPAP has one pressure that never changes, while BiPAP has two different pressures that change depending on which phase of ventilation they are on. For example, when a patient is exhaling, the pressure is EPAP, or expiratory positive airway pressure, and when the patient is inhaling, the pressure is IPAP, or inspiratory positive airway pressure. This can also be seen as PEEP, positive end expiratory pressure, and pressure support. The difference with this is the pressure support is the pressure added onto the PEEP, while the PEEP is similar to EPAP as it is a constant pressure. Let me just clarify. The difference with the pressure support is the pressure added onto the PEEP, while the PEEP is similar to EPAP as it is a constant pressure. Why is BiPAP used for ventilation? While CPAP is good for oxygenation as it can hold the alveoli open beyond normal in order to increase gas exchange to occur, but BiPAP has two different pressures that create a delta P. Delta is meant to signify change, and P stands for pressure in this case. So altogether, delta P means change in pressure. This change in pressure when inhaling allows more air to enter the lungs, and with the secondary lower pressure for exhaling allows the air to exit. The increase in airflow in and out of the lungs allows more CO2 to be exhaled. In order to decrease CO2, an increase in delta P is needed. So if expiratory pressure is adjusted and CO2 is within normal range, inspiratory pressure will need to be adjusted as well in order to keep delta P the same. If more ventilation is needed, IPAP can be increased and subsequently the change in pressure will increase, therefore increasing ventilation. BiPAP can be used for acute circumstances like asthma or COPD exacerbations, but also can be used at home for situations like sleep apnea.